Hallo, herzlich willkommen zurück. Folge 25 bereits von Lamplight City. Aber wir sind auf der Zielgeraden und suchen den Justice Killer. Wir sind auf der Spur seiner vorherigen Opfer erstmal, um ein bisschen uns eine Übersicht zu verschaffen. An den Docks hat der eine ja auch gearbeitet, nicht nur an der Brücke. Das wusste die Polizei, glaube ich, noch nicht. Mir stand nichts in der Akte davon. Wie war sein Name noch? Bowditch. Ennis Bowditch. Schön.
Ah, the chum. You can never truly get away from it as much as you may try.
Mr. Hastings. Guten Tag.
Trevor Hastings, is that you?
Why, Detective Fordham. Fancy seeing you again. What brings you down?
Oh, ist das der... Ah ja, na klar. Der aus dem Blumenladen.
The same man who was breaking into the flower shop.
You don't say. I wish I could help you, but the guy never came back after the night when your partner came around. Where is your partner anyway?
Oh, das ist cool.
Oh, he's around.
Well, give him my regards. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get this crate back, or Cecilia will have my head on a platter.
Of course. Good seeing you again.
He's around? That's probably the most clever thing you've said in months. Well done.
Ja, das ist natürlich mega. Das gibt natürlich jetzt durchaus einen gewissen Verdacht, finde ich, her. Zumindest ein merkwürdiger Zufall, dass hier der Bowditch ermordet wurde. Wo Hastings arbeitet und im Blumenladen unser Partner ermordet wurde. Aber das ist ja recht offensichtlich,
What?
ne?
You want me to howl at it or something?
Oh ja. Okay, aber den er nicht weiter mit
Keep
uns
up the
sprechen
good
will.
work.
Okay. Müssen wir wohl weitergehen. Aber natürlich spannend. Spannend. Gehen wir erstmal hier noch zur Eisenhütte.
This place sure is big. I wonder if they actually make anything useful.
Oh. Eisenwalzwerk,
This place sure
Gießerei.
is.
Ah.
Well, that doesn't look good.
Oh ja, oh Gott. Was ist denn hier passiert? Fragen wir den Vorarbeiter.
Excuse me, sir. Are you in charge here?
Unfortunately. Who are you? This area isn't open to the public.
I'm Miles Fordham.
So,
I'm
we
a
have to know.
private investigator looking into the murder of one of your workers.
A private investigator, eh? Then maybe you can help me out.
I'll do what I can, but I'll need to ask you some questions, Mr.
Mims. Sanford Mims. Go ahead, but make it snappy.
What can you tell me
Bam,
about
bam, bam,
Howard
bam.
Kirkland? A former employee here?
Listen, I've got a lot on my mind right now.
I understand, but it's important to my investigation that you tell me what you know about him.
I'm sure it is, but as you can see, I've got a lot to deal with right now.
Well, he's no help. Maybe you can figure out a way to help him help us.
Och nö.
What happened to your iron mill?
What's it look like? The damn thing went and got blown up.
Was it in disrepair?
Of course not. All my machinery is sound. Checked and serviced regularly. This is the work of those goddamn Redites. I'm sure of it.
Das liebe ich ja, wenn man eigentlich
What makes you certain
ganz
the
woanders hin
explosion was
unterwegs
the Redites
ist.
doing?
Take a look, boy. The whole mill got taken out. Even if this had been a mechanical failure, which it wasn't, the explosion would have been contained to a single part of the machine. This couldn't have been anything other than sabotage.
Have you had problems with the Redites before?
They'd
That's
sent
what
it out
I'm
in
saying,
the
Redites.
but this is the first time they've actually carried out one of their threats.
Schauen wir erstmal weiter.
You're absolutely sure this was sabotage then?
Yes. How many times have I got to tell you this?
Yeah.
You said you were an investigator, right? So find out who did this to my machine. If you do, I'll help you out with whatever else you wanted to ask me about.
Jesus.
Looks like we haven't got much of a choice. He seems pretty upset about his machine.
I'll see what I can do.
Aha. Ich meine, ich
Are you
frage
familiar
trotzdem mal,
with
aber...
who?
He's a serial murderer who's killed 5 men over...
Is that right?
He may have
Nie
killed
von
one
ihm
of your men.
gehört.
Weren't the police here asking him?
Oh, is that what that was all about? I know they came poking around here a while back.
Wir sind weit
I was busy
schnell
dealing with
durchgeklickt
other
hier. Ich dachte, er sagt jetzt eh
It's
nichts
nice to
dazu.
see the lines of communication here are wide open.
I'll be going.
Be careful on your way out.
Okay. Das heißt, wir müssen uns echt mit diesen Redites befassen. Hat er uns irgendwas zu denen gesagt? Saboteur des Walzwerks finden In der Torborn-Eisenhütte. Eieieiei. Aber wir haben ja noch ganz schön viele andere Anlaufstellen gerade, von daher check auch gerade nicht. Also wenn ich hier einen Saboteur finden soll, oder, warte mal, schließen. Muss ich das wahrscheinlich untersuchen, ne? Ja.
Completely ruined. Whoever sat.
Aber ich kann es mir nicht. Nähern. Ah, zum Bereich der Arbeiter. Okay, got it. Was da? Hier muss da irgendwo noch ein Raum sein.
That area is for workers only.
My apologies.
Hä?
Yeah.
Willst du, dass ich dir helfe? Lässt mich aber nicht laufen?
How long have you been the...
Sometimes I think things were so much easier before we got these machines. I've already had 5 of my best men. If my hair wasn't this great, I swear one of these days.
Are you sure?
It's like I've told you.
I'll be going.
Ja, und dann lass mich doch auch dahin gehen.
No way we'll be able to go down there.
Hä, das ist doch Bullshit. Also wenn ich mir das hier nicht angucken kann. Wobei, hier ist ja auch...
Completely ruined. This place should...
Also es ist ja auch ein anderes Zeichen hier. Das irritiert mich ein bisschen. Ich bin ein bisschen verwirrt. Da ich aber hier spontan nicht weiß, wie es weitergeht, gehen wir einfach erstmal woanders hin. Merken wir uns, wir haben in der Eisenhütte noch was zu tun. Da waren wir. Wir gehen mal ins Büro-Kaffeehaus. Bleiben erstmal noch bei dem Bowditch. Das Bild haben wir auch schon mal gesehen. Ist das das Kaffeehaus, wo wir immer Abzehn getroffen haben? Wahrscheinlich, ne? Hier arbeitet auch die Freundin.
Begging your pardon, miss.
How can I help you, sir?
Mit der nette Stimme.
I understand you were involved with Ennis Bowditch.
Was involved, yes. I haven't spoken to him in nearly 2 months.
Oh, were you not aware of his death then?
What? Ennis is dead?
Well, this is awkward.
Indeed. I'm sorry to have to be the bearer of bad news.
How did it happen?
I'm afraid he was murdered.
Murdered?
Liest denn hier keiner
By
Zeitung?
who? And why?
Those are exactly the questions I'm trying to answer myself.
Oh, I see. Are you a detective?
A private investigator, yes.
Well, I'll answer what I can. If it helps any, that is.
Hat sie nicht
I'm
irgendwie
certain it
versucht,
will.
in den letzten 2 Monaten mal rauszufinden, was los war?
What was your relationship with Mr. Bowditch like?
Oh, well, it was nice at first. He was a proper gentleman-like. But then something changed.
Oh?
It's like I told Ruby. I think he might have got hit on the head at work because he seemed to be a completely different person. He'd get angry for no reason. He even... Well, that bit's not important. At first, I thought he was just going through some rough times, but after a while I
Hat sie
realized
geschlagen?
he'd changed for the worse. So I broke things off. He wasn't too happy about it, but I wasn't going to stick with a man like that.
Okay, das erklärt zumindest, dass sie sich nicht mehr dafür interessiert hat.
Could you tell me more about this Ruby you mentioned?
Ruby? Oh, I've known her since we were little. She's my dearest friend. There's not a secret between us. She was a great help when I kicked Dennis to the curb. I'm lucky to know her. Everyone should have someone like Ruby in their life.
Are you familiar with the Justice Killer?
Justice killer? Is that some kind of pesticide?
No, it isn't. Never mind. You've been working here for quite a while, haven't you?
I have, yes. Coming up on 3 years. Been a real pleasure getting to know all the regulars. They've come to be sort of like a second family. By the way, whatever happened with you and your lady friend?
I beg your pardon?
Oh, that nice lady you met a couple of times. Did it work out between the two of you?
Oh, that? No, that was strictly business.
Right. Well, if you see her, tell her I said hello.
I'll let you get back to work.
Thank you, sir.
Ich mag die. Die ist süß. Okay. Das hilft uns erstmal, glaube ich, nicht weiter. Dann arbeiten wir uns doch hier mal die Karte hinauf Richtung Lampenlager. Das sieht ja nett aus hier. Ja, die gleiche Brille wie der.
You there! What are you doing?
I'm Miles Fordham. I'm trying to find out about...
No
time for that now. Get in here and shield your eyes.
Aber schnell.
Just do it! What's going on exactly?
Shh. Everything ready, Alex? 3, 2, 1, go! Amazing! It works! It works!
What works?
Etheric lamps! Our experiment was a success!
What exactly have we wandered into here, Miles?
Aha.
I wouldn't get too close to that thing. It might end up turning you inside out. So this is where all the lamps in the city come from. I can't believe I never bothered finding out before.
Was
Too bad
Sarkasmus?
you didn't get a chance to read that sign before their little experiment.
Kann's echt nicht wirklich entziffern. Na dann.
May I ask you a few questions?
Of course! What would you like to know?
Alles über diese Lampe. Oder... Ja, hier.
You
Sag,
mentioned
komm.
something about etheric lamps?
Yes! Weren't you paying attention to our demonstration? You have just witnessed history!
Ach, Jenny würde die Haare
What I
nehmen.
witnessed was a blinding flash of light.
Exactly! That flash was the result of years of painstaking research and experimentation. It means that not only does ethericity exist, but it can be used as a source of illumination. If these experiments continue to be successful, as I suspect they will, we'll have etheric street lamps before the end of the decade. Imagine lamps that burn twice as bright, 4 times as long. Oh, this will change everything.
And if it's like anything else we've seen, it'll put a lot of people out of work, too.
Hä?
With all these promises of technological advancement, have the Redites given you any
Scheint eine
trouble?
Bande zu sein,
Oh,
ne?
those tech-fearing dolts. Yes, I'm sorry to say that we've gotten threats from them. They have yet to carry any out, which is unsurprising.
How so?
Groups like that are all bluster and no backbone.
I've seen some evidence to the contrary.
Is that right? Well, we've seen little beyond threatening letters, and I intend to make sure it stays that way.
Do you have any of these letters I might have a look at?
Yes, I have one. I'll give it to you before you leave.
Before you leave.
Are you familiar with the Justice Killer?
I've read about it in the newspaper.
Boah, endlich mal einer der Zeitung liest.
Business. It makes me wish we could install more street lamps to keep this city safer at night. Someday, I hope to realize that dream. Then we'll really deserve to be called Lamplight City.
You think brighter streets will stop serial murderers?
It's well known that crime rates are lower in Lyon and Worcester, and they have many more street lamps per square mile.
I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with the amount of wealth in those areas. Has to be all about the lighting.
Ja.
You worked with a man named Burley Cause, is that right?
Yes, I heard he was killed. Such a senseless tragedy. It's a shame he missed out on our demonstration. He was really interested in etheric technology.
Wasn't he concerned about losing his job to these technological advances?
He had no reason to. It's been made clear to all the workers that there will always be a place for us, even if our jobs are made obsolete. Unlike some other places, we take care of our own here at the Lamplight Depot.
How noble. But I'm pretty sure he's full of more hot air than the HMS Lenore.
Ja, ist eigentlich aus der HMS Lamplight geworden.
Is there anything you know about Mr. Cause's personal life that might be relevant?
I know he was married, but I don't believe he had any children. Oh, and he used to talk about his love for fishing.
Could you give me his home address? Perhaps his wife will be willing to speak with me.
Yes, certainly. He lived at 820 Orchard Avenue.
Thank you for the information.
Haben wir noch was?
Do you know any details about Mr. Cause's murder?
Unfortunately, I don't. The police were here asking questions, but they didn't give me many details.
Do you know of anyone who might have wanted him dead?
Not at all. Burley was very friendly, always treated everyone around here with respect. You know, it's sad to think that for all our leaps forward, we're still really just a bunch of savages.
Ich kann mir vorstellen, dass diese Geschichte letztlich nochmal so einen Bogen in diese Technik-Geschichte hier reinschlägt am Ende.
Thank you.
Happy to help.
Dass
He is
der
that
Mörder
person
vielleicht
you were
ein
asking
Technikhasser ist, wo dann hätte er ja den hier gekillt. To the engineers of chaos and destruction. Ihr arbeitet im völligen Gegensatz zur natürlichen Ordnung der Dinge. Eure sogenannten Verbesserungen werden der Untergang unserer Gesellschaft sein. Wenn ihr eure unsäglichen Experimente nicht beendet, sind die Redites gezwungen, aktiv zu werden. Lasst euch das eine Warnung sein. PF.
Now that's interesting. Whoever wrote this letter signed it with initials. They can't have been so stupid as to make themselves so easily identifiable. Can they?
Na, dem spielt treu alles zu. Hier bleiben wir da mal ganz kurz dran. Gehen wir zur Wohnung. 2a war es, ne? Ich glaube trotzdem mal kurz über 2b.
Yeah? May I help you, young man?
Hello, madam. My name is Miles Fordham, and I'm a private investigator.
Ah,
I have some questions about your neighbor.
You mean my former neighbor?
Yes. In any case, I'd appreciate it if you could help me with some information.
Nah, I don't think so. The last person to ask me about him was that awful policeman. I don't want to have to go through that again.
I'm sorry you had a bad experience, but I can assure you I won't give you a hard time.
Well, that's easy for you to say, but actions speak louder than words.
Uh-oh. I think I know where this is going.
Is there anything I can do for you then?
Well, since you asked, my layabout husband is out wasting our retirement fund with his drinking. Go find him and bring him back here. Then maybe we can talk.
Oh, wonderful. Now we're playing babysitter.
You'll find him at the Silent Raven. It's not too far from here.
Yes, I know it.
Good. My husband's name is Kurt Williamson. You tell him his wife Ethel wants him home at once.
I'll do my best, Mrs. Williamson.
Das passiert, wenn man falsch klopft.
There doesn't seem to be anyone at home. Apartment 2.
Okay. Dann auf einen Absack in den Raven. Gott, wie viel. Schön, dass das noch da ist.
Looks like they haven't bothered cleaning this up yet.
Weil unser Loch hier, ne? Ist auch eine absolute Todesfalle. Und nie wieder zugemacht. Interessiert auch keinen.
Excuse me, are you Kurt Williamson?
That's right. Who are you?
Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator.
Oh, yeah? What is it you want from me?
Ethel sent me to tell you she wants you to come home right away.
I should have known. I can't get away for more than a few hours before she's put the entire city on high alert. How much of my retirement fund did she waste on getting you to come down here?
I'm only doing this because I need some information.
The joke's on you, then. You can just go back and tell her I'll come home when I'm damn well ready.
Why is it you're so averse to returning home?
I enjoy going out and having a good time. Is that so wrong?
Your wife told me she doesn't like you spending your money on drink.
What I spend my money on is none of her business, and even less of yours. What's this world coming to when a man can't even drink in peace without all his affairs shouted from the rooftops?
You know, this whole situation seems awfully familiar.
Listen, Mr. Williamson, I think I know.
Oh, wir gehen auf die Tour.
Oh, yeah?
My wife and I were having a rough patch. I wasn't being honest with her, and it nearly drove us apart.
But you managed to fix things.
Yes, I was fortunate. I did the right thing before it was too late.
And what did you do?
Ah, ich habe ihr die Wahrheit gesagt. Alright. So offen sollten wir nicht sein. Ich habe ehrlich und offen mit ihr gesprochen.
It was simple. I just communicated honestly and openly with her. I told her what was wrong and how I was feeling. And you know what? She listened. Have you ever told Ethel why you like going out?
No. I assumed she wouldn't understand. I really wish she would come out with me, but I know she'd never agree.
How do you know? Have you actually talked to her about this?
Well, no.
Well, then maybe you should. If she knew you wanted company, she might just give it a try.
You know, I never thought of it like that. I'm going to go home right now and tell her. And if she refuses, well, at least I asked, right?
That's the spirit.
Thanks for the advice, friend. I really do
Okay, man sich sehr verbauen können, gerade mit der falschen Antwort, ne? Also wahrscheinlich waren beide anderen Quatsch.
Not bad. I have to say, I'm impressed.
Wie geht's hier so?
Excuse me, barmaid?
Hi.
Oh. Okay.
Do you know anything about the man sitting at that table over there?
Naja, saß.
Not really. He comes in here a few times a week, but he mostly keeps... I see his type all the time, though. Older, probably retired and looking to escape his home life. I feel sorry for him, but that sort of customer is my bread and butter.
Oh, und jetzt haben wir den ein bisschen weggenommen.
Are you familiar with the Justice Killer?
What is that, some fancy drink concoction?
No. It's the name that's been given to a serial murderer here in the Chum.
I see. Never heard of him. And if he's smart, he won't show his face round here.
You know, this place suddenly feels just a little bit safer.
Yeah.
Man sollte echt meinen, dass die Leute wissen, wie dieser Typ ist. Das wundert mich ein bisschen. So, da Silent Raven war jetzt auch schon ausgeblendet.
Ah, Mr. Fordham.
Don't mention it. Now, would you be willing to answer some questions?
Well, yes, of course.
Yes, of course.
Tell me what you know about Burley Cause.
He and his wife hadn't been living next door very long, maybe 4 months or so. But I didn't talk to either of them very much. They weren't interested in being neighborly, I guess. It's a shame, really. Maybe if we had known one another better, something like this could have been prevented.
What happened on the day Mr. Cause was killed?
I was here at home, doing my knitting as usual. All of a sudden, I heard a loud bang. It sounded like a gunshot.
Ach, stand ja auch in der
knocked on
Akte.
Mrs. Cause's door, but there was no answer. I did notice a smell, though, like flowers. Something seemed wrong, so I decided to report the incident to the police. Not long after that, an officer showed up and started asking questions. Awful man he was, so rude. I gotta report him, but I forgot his name. I think it started with a P.
Parsons?
Yes, that's him. He called for some more officers and they got into the apartment. That's when I found out Mr. Cause had been murdered.
Where is Mrs. Cause now?
I don't know, with her mother maybe. That's usually how it goes.
You wouldn't happen to know where that is, would you?
Afraid not, but there is one other thing.
Yes?
Don't say I told you this, but, well, I used to hear the two of them through my wall. I tried ignoring it since it's really none of my business, but it became impossible.
What was it you heard?
I don't believe they had a happy marriage. They'd have awful fights a couple times a week.
What would they fight about?
Oh, all sorts of things. The worst one was
Oh.
when she discovered he was going to a brothel. I think he might have hit her on a few occasions, too, but I can't be certain. I hope you don't think me a horrible old gossip, but I thought you might like to know.
Not at all. I'm
Das ist natürlich
glad you
interessant, weil der Bowditch, der Brückenarbeiter, der schien ja auch schon so ein Schläger zu sein. Er war jetzt scheinbar auch gewalttätig. Vielleicht bezieht sich das Justice darauf.
Are you familiar with the Justice Killer?
You mean the serial killer who's been killing men in Chumley?
That's the one.
Nah, never heard of him.
What?
I'm just pulling your leg, Mr. Fordham.
I like this one. She's got spirit.
Unfortunately, I only know what I've read in the Gazette, but it's scary to think some maniac is loose on the streets doing such terrible things. And with Kurt going out by himself for hours at a time, oh, I don't like it one bit.
I appreciate...
Have a good day.
Sehr interessant. Also das hat durchaus noch eine Verbindung. Der Einzige, der mir jetzt ein bisschen ins Verdacht nehmen kann, ist der, ich glaube Hastings heißt der Brücken, der hier an den Docks arbeitet, der die Blumen lieferte und liefert. Aber dass es da ein bisschen so Schlägertypen unterwegs sind, ist nicht interessant.
Remember, a black eye is not a badge of honor. Anyone picking a fight will be dismissed immediately. Well, that's hardly any fun, is it?
Hat das einen Hintergrund, warum das da hängt?
I thought about a career as a mechanic once. Glad I chose police work. Way less messy.
Na,
Good evening.
Oh, it's you again. Small world.
Indeed. Mr. Shaw, was it?
Herman
That's
Shaw?
right. So, what brings you around to the cab depot?
I wanted to ask you some questions if you can spare some time.
Shouldn't be a problem.
Ich erinnere mich, aber woher? Warum? Jenny, wo bist du? Hilf mir. Er sagt mir was, aber ich bin mir nicht sicher, woher. Also wir haben dieses Spiel so ewig jetzt geschoben immer. Wenn wir nicht dazu
Did
kamen.
you know Reggie
Shit.
Willingham?
Reggie? Sure, I knew him. Well, just as rather I didn't.
Oh? Why do you say that?
The man was a bore, a scoundrel, a no-good bounder.
I wish he would tell us how he really felt.
Only reason they kept him on here was because he was a good driver.
So it's fair to say you didn't like him?
Nobody did. When I heard he'd been killed, wasn't exactly a surprise. If I treated people the way he did, I'd surely
Okay, das
have a
passt
lot
in
of
unser
enemies.
Muster.
Could you elaborate a bit on Mr. Willingham's behavior?
Oh, he was a proud one. Thought he was God's gift to mankind. Always strutting around, bragging about how many gratuities he'd earned or how many fist fights he'd won against drivers from Phillips. He had the shortest fuse I've ever seen, too. Just looking at him the wrong way could set him off. I'd always laugh to myself when he'd brag about how many women he'd had in a week.
Why is that?
Because it was obvious he had to pay for the pleasure. A man like that isn't going to get a woman otherwise. I may not be a hit with the ladies, but even I know that being a bastard is a surefire way to drive 'em off.
Are you familiar with the so-called Justice Killer?
I've heard a few rumors here and there about some murders in the chum, but I haven't paid 'em much attention. There's plenty for me to worry about in my own life.
Aren't you concerned for your safety?
Not really. I haven't done anything wrong. So if this loony's going around doing justice, nothing for me to worry about.
He makes a good point. I think we need to get a better idea of what exactly these victims did to incur the wrath of our killer.
Ich glaube, wir haben da schon eine ganz gute Idee mit dieser Gewaltsache.
What can you tell me about Colson Cabs?
Not a bad place, really. Only problem is the number of people always coming here for work. Lots of folks think driving a cab is an easy job that anyone can do, but that's not the case. You need to know this city like the back of your hand, and it helps to know how to drive. So we get lots of fellas starting here who don't have the slightest clue what they're doing. They don't last long.
What about the automated cabs? Are those a problem for you?
I prefer not to think about those. Colson has said he's got no plans to replace his fleet, so it's all that matters to me.
Ich liebe es, dass dieses Thema überall ist.
Have you had any trouble from the Redites?
No, sir. They got no reason to give us any trouble. What with us still using horse-drawn cabs? I imagine the fellas over at Phillips have, but I can't be certain. We don't deal with those lot if we can help it.
I don't think interviewing anyone from Phillips would be a good use of our time. Our priority is finding the Justice Killer, after all.
Ich find's halt super cool.
Are you still
Mal
the...
kurz.
I am, sir. Things are more or less the same, except Roger's not around anymore. Suppose he must have moved on. Hope he isn't planning on coming back, because his paintings...
Ach, der Typ!
Oh, I have a feeling you won't.
Der
I appreciate your time, sir.
mit dem Maler
Pleasure's
draußen
all
zusammen
mine.
wohnte. Ah. Also gucken wir mal ganz kurz. Wir haben an der Brückenbaustelle waren wir, an der Eisenhütte waren wir. Wir haben auf jeden Fall schon Verbindungen hergestellt zwischen jetzt dem Leuten im Lampenlager und im Taxidepot, das auch schon nicht mehr richtig wichtig zu sein scheint. Also wir wissen, dass der im Lampenlager arbeitete und der hier arbeitete. Und auch hier, glaube ich, die haben alle so ein bisschen Gewalt im Blut. Vor allem gegen ihre Frauen, die Penner. Den kennen wir noch nicht. Weil wir da erst diese Redite-Sache lösen müssten. Ich würde sagen, jetzt haben wir alle einmal, die vorherigen Opfer alle einmal abgeklappert. Das gibt uns noch ein bisschen jetzt zu denken, ein bisschen Ruhe. In der nächsten Folge schauen wir mal, wo wir dann ansetzen. Welche Hebel wir in Bewegung setzen. Ich hoffe, ihr seid wieder mit dabei, denn es geht jetzt, glaube ich, schnurstracks auf das große Finale zu. Bis dahin, auf Wiederschauen.